To help you move around your document very quickly and with assurance that you are where you want to be in the document, you'll want to know some very basic, simple keyboard commands, also how to use your mouse and some other options that are on your screen. Now, before we start showing you what some of these commands are, you'll need to know one thing, and that is when you click inside your document, you'll see this blinking cursor. That cursor tells you where you're at in the document. Not only that you're at the beginning of this sentence, but down here in the bottom left corner, you'll see page 1 of 3 in this instance. And that's telling you that you're on page 1. Well, the reason it knows you're on page 1 is because of this blinking cursor. Okay? Now that's key to know, because as you start your navigation, it will depend where that cursor is. And where you end up will depend on where that cursor is. So, for example, if I click at the end of this first sentence and I hit the space bar, it's going to do that because I click there and that cursor is there. So just think of this cursor as your insertion point. Okay? So as you begin to type, it will put it right there where that cursor is. And as I backspace to delete it, it's deleting it because the cursor is moving backwards and getting rid of information. Now, you can move that cursor backwards and forwards, up and down without deleting information. On your keyboard, you'll see these arrows. I'll hit the down arrow, and it allows me to go down the page. There's a left arrow, so I can go left. And notice it goes one at a time, which is good because sometimes you need to get it in a very specific place. You can right arrow as well, which is also another good thing because we're not trying to delete anything or put spaces in. We're just trying to move the cursor around. I can also do up arrow. So it goes one at a time. A lot of people will use that to make sure they get to a specific place in the document, or they want to kind of read through it and they're using the cursor to help them go up and down the document. Okay? So that's using your arrow keys. And don't forget, you can always click using the left mouse button on your mouse, of course. So you don't have to use your arrow keys to move up and down the document. On some mice, you'll have a scroll wheel, and I have one on mine, and I can just scroll down. Now, one thing to notice, when you use the scroll option, okay, whether it's on your mouse or on the screen, notice that the insertion point here is still on page 1. Okay. Now the view is going to show you, if I go into page 2 here, that I'm on page 2 and that I'm on now page 3. Okay. But if I hit the keyboard, I hit the space bar, it takes me all the way back to the first page because that's where the insertion point is. And when I hit backspace, I'm still there. I was just trying to get rid of that extra space. So a navigation tip is you can click anywhere in your document, use your scroll mouse, or over here on the right, you'll see the scroll bar. And it's not going to move your cursor. And when you want to go back there very quickly, you could just hit anywhere on your, a letter on your keyboard. I hit K, and it takes me back there. Then we're going to go back over it. Okay. Let's talk more about the scroll option over here on the right. So over here on the right, left click and hold, you can drag it down. That's usually the fastest way to do it. You have these arrow buttons at the top and at the bottom. So if you hit the down arrow, it's a little bit at a time. You can left click and hold it, and it'll scroll a little bit faster. You can also go inside this scroll lane. You can click inside that bar there, just click, and it'll jump it up a little bit faster at a time. So it's like little chunks of the document are going by. Okay. So moving up and down, it'll show you where you're going to land as you left click and hold. There's page 2. Now page 1 is in view as well. Okay. Now, we've been using the scroll mouse, meaning the mouse with a scroll wheel. We've used the scroll over here on the right of the screen. There's other keyboard commands that you can use. For example, you can use the page down and the page up button. So if I hit page down, notice I'm still on page 1, but a lot of that is because of the view here. It's at 90%. So if I hit page down, now I'm on page 2. But page down again is I'm still on page 2, and I have to hit it again. So I had to hit it 4 times to get to page 3. All of that is because it's paging down based on the view of your screen. So if I reduce my screen, let's say to 40%, let's make it one more. Let's go back up to, let's make it 60. Okay, now I'm on page 3, and if I hit page up, I'm now on page 1. Now I'm about in the middle of that page. That's okay. I jumped up, and it's because my view is smaller. So page up is heavily dependent on the view that you're currently in. Okay, so for most people, you're going to be around 90 to 100% when you're working with your documents. But that page up and page down is not literal. It's based on your view. So a good thing to know. Another thing that you can do when you're at the beginning of a line and you want to get to the end of a line very quickly, you can hit the end button. It takes you to the end of that line, not the paragraph, not anything else, just the end of the line. There's also a home button. So if you hit the home button, it takes you to the beginning of a line. So for example, as I come down here, I'm arrowing down, I'm going to arrow over, I'm holding it down. If I hit the end button, it goes to the end of that line. If I hit the home button, it goes to the beginning of the line. Now, there's a couple other tricks with that. If you hold down the Control key, the CTRL button on your keyboard, and hit the end button, it takes you to the end of the document. That works because you're holding down the Control key and you hit end. It also works for the home button. If you hold down Control and then hit the home button, got to keep Control down and hit home, it takes you to the beginning of your document. So those are really quick ways to get to the beginning and the end of your document. Home will take you to the beginning of a line, end will take you to the end of a line. You have your mouse to move you around, you have your scroll bar to move you around, you can use your arrows as well. So lots of really quick, easy ways to get around your document